The absorption and release of certain substances takes place through cell membranes. The two basic types of these processes are passive transport and active transport, the latter requiring energy. During passive transport, particles flow towards the lower concentration, which does not require an energy investment. The simplest type of passive transport is simple diffusion. Particles pass through the double lipid layer of the membrane down the concentration gradient. The central apolar layer of the membrane dissolves apolar particles. Therefore, apolar molecules like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and steroids are capable of simple diffusion. Small polar molecules, such as water, may also pass through the membrane, through the temporary pores that open due to the thermal motion of lipid molecules. Carrier molecules permit the transportation of particles towards the lower concentration that otherwise could not or could not easily pass through the double lipid membrane due to their size or hydrophobicity. These particles are polar molecules, ions, and large molecules. The membrane also contains channel proteins, which can be opened or closed. When a suitable ligand attaches, the channel opens. It transports polar molecules and ions that otherwise could not pass through the lipid layer of the membrane. Channels permit faster transport than carrier molecules, but they are less selective. Ion channels play an extremely important role in the electrical activities of neurons. Active transport processes require energy, as particles are carried against the concentration gradient and are accumulated on one side of the membrane. The necessary energy is provided by the breakdown of ATP. The simplest type of active transport is uniport. A uniporter transports one particle towards the higher concentration. This requires energy intake, that is, ATP. ATP breaks down into ADP and phosphate while releasing energy. During secondary active transport, the active transporter creates a difference in the concentration of particle A using ATP. Another transporter allows the accumulated A particles to pass through the membrane. B particles are transported against the concentration gradient. The transport of B particles, therefore, requires ATP indirectly. Symporters transport A and B particles in one direction. Another type of secondary active transport is called antiport. During this process, the active transporter creates a difference in the concentration of particle A using ATP. The antiporter allows A particles to pass through the membrane down the concentration gradient, while it also permits a B particle through against its concentration gradient. The transport of B particles therefore requires ATP indirectly. Antiporters transport A and B particles in opposite directions.